When I first came to Canada, one of the first things I wanted to achieve was to get a meaningful employment and advance in my career. I knew I needed to build my professional network, but hey, I was in a new environment and I didn't know anybody. The Canadian job market was very vast and competitive. It was quite overwhelming to navigate. Of course, there were survival jobs, but I wanted more. I wanted a good job that would align with my goals and my aspirations. I know so many newcomers at some point are in this stage. So if this is you right now and you need some practical tips and strategies on how to successfully build your professional network to increase your chances of finding a job, then come along for a ride. Hey guys, welcome back. This is the Moving Moment, and I am still yours truly, Dale Timi Temoro. I'm a human resources professional based in Saskatoon, Canada. And if this is your first time here, thank you. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Please consider using the subscribe button and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you'll be the first to know whenever I upload a video. I make videos on careers, relocation, and life in Canada. And to the OGs in the building, thank you so much. You guys rock. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up. And if you're yet to subscribe to this channel, what are you waiting for? Please subscribe to this channel and don't forget to share. Just keep sharing. So in today's video, we're going to talk about networking for immigrants in Canada and related to how it can position us to get good jobs. And we have a live series guest today, an amazing person. I met her in the first few months of my getting into Canada. She is she's one of the professionals I networked with. She is a workforce specialist and an expert when it comes to networking. She supports immigrants and helps them settle professionally in Canada. So everybody, help me welcome Jenna. Hey, Jenna, it's great to have you on today's video. Thanks for honoring my invitation. It means a lot to me. Can we get to meet you, Jenna?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here. Yeah, so my name is Jenna. I'm from Saskatoon, and for the past 2 years, I've worked at a settlement agency, mainly around finding work or work placements for refugees and immigrants. So I'm by no means an expert, but I'm very excited to share the experiences that I've had and also the tips that I've gotten from others too. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Jenna. It's great to have you on this channel once again. So as I said earlier, we're going to talk about how we can navigate the Canadian job market by networking. So without much ado, let's get started. Um, Newcomers, right, often they often get confused and overwhelmed when job searching. Professionals come into Canada with the hope of being gainfully employed, but most of the time they don't get jobs in their preferred field, or it takes a lot to get a job. I think a good place to start is understanding the Canadian job markets, right? So from your experience, how would you describe the Canadian job market to a newcomer? What strategies would you advise a newcomer to use to navigate this market? Jenna.
For sure. That's a really good question. I would say it really depends on the field. If you have not yet immigrated to Canada, I would really research the field you're wanting to enter, especially if it's a regulated field. So something that requires certain training to enter, as you know, that added training and certification can add a lot of barriers when you get to Canada. There's a really great employment resource guide from Immigration Partnership Saskatoon. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, Dale, but I can send it to you too, and you can share it with your audience.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I've heard of them.
There's a physical book too. Oh,
Mhm.
sorry, you've heard of it?
Yeah, I think I heard of it. They had a launch recently. I was there
Yes.
at a launch.
I saw you there.
Yeah, I
Now that
saw
I'm
you
thinking
there.
of it, yes. Yes,
Yeah.
now that I think of it. Yeah. So that's a really good resource, I'd say. It's really
Okay.
just like a one pager of each
Mm,
kind of regulated profession.
okay.
So that's very helpful, and just sharing that resource could be good.
Okay.
Um,
I guess I'll
I
share it in the
mainly,
description. Yeah.
yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great idea. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a helpful resource, and now they have it online, so
Oh, okay.
anyone can kind of see it. So
Okay.
yeah, I've mainly served people that are already here, and I would say that's a pretty big barrier is just entering a regulated field, and depending on where you're like kind of at in your life, you may not want to go back to school to do that training.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very difficult choice. And so I would just say to research that and understand that if you have not already come here. Um, yeah, that's definitely a big consideration. Another like larger barrier, I guess I would say people find is language and also Canadian experience and references. And language could be actually, like very basic, understanding the language, but also just slang and workforce terminology.
Yeah.
Those things can be difficult to understand. I
Mm-hmm.
think in Canada, we also speak in a lot of idioms, a lot of
Okay.
sayings, which
Yeah.
are really
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then,
So yeah, like taking English classes and also just going to networking events or even volunteering can be a great way to
yeah,
both
okay.
both kind of build up your English and also build up
Work work
your
experience.
Canadian work experience and just
Volunteering is a great way to build your work experience.
exactly, yes. And networking also is a great way to, find connections potentially in your field. Like, let's say I wanted to work in, I don't know, some sort of environmental sciences. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
I go and volunteer in Saskatoon. We have Meewasin, which is like an outdoor organization.
Okay.
Um, so maybe I volunteer there to get to know more about what I guess kind of Saskatoon has to offer for nature. And then by putting that on my resume, I can kind of indicate to employers I'm interested in the environment. And from there, you can kind of show your interest to future employers as well.
Yeah. And also to mention, like to add to what you said, you mentioned references. The volunteer experience will be a great source of your reference as well.
Definitely, yes,
Yeah.
especially if you are looking for work.
Mm-hmm.
References are for volunteering are a great place to start.
Yeah.
People want to in Canada know more about kind of who you are as a person. They want to ask if you're
Mm-hmm.
reliable, maybe your people skills, things that
Yeah.
are kind of fundamental to the Canadian job market.
So like, I just wanted to buttress the point on volunteering, like three things volunteering can do to a newcomer. That is helping the person develop English, giving a source of reference and also work experience to start with.
Yeah, that volunteer experience, exactly. And
Mhm.
it's also something to build your resume, both in
Yeah,
terms of having volunteer experience and the references. So
sure.
it's very helpful. And also just getting to meet people. It can be really
Yeah.
isolating to move somewhere else. And I think just
Mhm.
getting out and meeting your community and finding passions you're involved with is
Yeah,
really helpful to settle somewhere, just feeling connected to whatever you're passionate about.
sure. Sure.
Definitely.
All righty.
Uh, so that would be a big strategy, I'd say, to, I guess, getting into the market in some ways. Um, I'm trying to think of a few others here. I would also say looking on LinkedIn
Okay.
and going to networking events.
Oh yeah.
So networking events like in Saskatoon, we have WESC, that's specifically for women. There's some that are more for women, more for young professionals. Maybe, for example, Ideas on Tap at Vendasta is more tech tech focused. But
Okay.
finding your industry in the networking groups can be really
Mm-hmm.
helpful.
Mm-hmm. Then also for success, one of the events, one of their programs, that was where I met you, and then like they had different programs, preparing them professionally to the workforce. So that's another event to look into.
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Like, so going to settlement agencies or agencies
Yeah.
in your community that
Mm,
offer kind of like employment or maybe computer classes,
sure.
things to just boost your skills, boost your resume. And then in those sessions, you meet great people, right? So it kind of
Right.
continues on. You just network. Yeah. So
Sure.
it continues forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Okay, thanks, Jenna. Um, Within the space of 8 months, Jenna, you organized like three networking events to support racialized women in achieving their employment goals. That says to me that networking is important when job searching, right? So could you help us understand what networking actually means in the professional context and the role networking plays when navigating the Canadian job market? I think we sort of mentioned, did we? Okay, let me just leave that to
We
you.
may have.
Yeah, sort of. And also, what networking platforms and tools can a newcomer leverage to build professional connections?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so networking really is talking with people and building relationships, usually in a professional setting, but you could network anywhere, right? You're volunteering, you're meeting people, and you never know how that person can help you or you could help them and how you can form things together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so making connections can help with professional development, but also just kind of your overall development as a person, especially with meeting employers or employees at companies that you would like to work at or in industries you'd be interested in. Uh, I guess also just learning people's backgrounds and understanding where people kind of their journey and how they got to that position can be really helpful to kind of get a feel for, well, what would I maybe need to be in that role?
Mm.
So I would say that's another kind of strategy too, is just looking at job postings too and looking at, what are they asking for? But you can learn that too from people that have that job.
True.
What kind of skills and qualifications do they have? Um, yeah, but really, I think it's also just great to connect with your community and your colleagues. For building those connections, I mean, getting out, volunteering, going to networking events, but also something I'd recommend that I think not a lot of people do, but I've done myself and had a great experience with it, is called career information interviewing.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, I don't know if you've heard of this,
I have,
but
but
yeah,
I don't think I've used it before. It's a great
yeah.
tool, right? But yeah, a lot of people don't consider
It
it.
can be difficult. Yeah,
Yeah.
it can be difficult to kind of reach out to people.
Mm-hmm.
I did it myself during COVID, where I just reached out to people on LinkedIn, and some people I maybe knew a little better than others. Someone I didn't know at all, and I just reached out to her, and she was super helpful. So
Oh,
career like in information interviewing is really just looking at I guess finding someone maybe on LinkedIn or someone in your network, someone
mm-hmm.
that you've met, and asking them for like 15 minutes for coffee, 30 minutes for coffee. And then in that interview, asking them questions about their job, asking them questions about what they do and how they got to their position. And the key isn't that you're asking them for a job, it's that you're asking them about their job. You're wanting to learn about their career. And I think this is a great tool, especially if you could find another immigrant that has faced those barriers and can help you
Sure.
understand how to get past that. That
Mm.
can be really helpful.
Oh
So
yeah.
I know it takes a bit of courage to kind of ask
Yeah.
somebody. It can be difficult,
I was
but it can
gonna
be beneficial for sure.
yeah, really helpful. It sounds really helpful. I would consider doing it one of these days.
Yeah.
But I was gonna ask, how was it? What was it like? What was the response rates like? Like, did it take you so much? Like, how many people did you reach
Like
out to
of
and how many people responded? You know.
That's a great question. Trying to remember everybody I asked. I think I probably had probably 3 to 5 interviews.
Oh wow.
Um, and I think that everybody responded. Maybe
Okay.
one didn't. Maybe I blocked that out. But I think everybody responded, or at least
Okay.
everybody that did, I got quite good information from. So
Wow.
I guess I didn't feel like there was something missing.
Mm.
But I guess my strategy there was I asked people through groups that I was involved in, like that volunteering.
Okay.
And then on LinkedIn, you get that kind of, I guess, verified, or, you get
Oh
enough
yeah.
people in your community that you're kind of
Mhm.
vetted in a way. And I
Yeah.
think that's why that other person that I had never met, and I think she maybe lived in Vancouver or something,
Okay.
was open to kind of meeting with me.
Okay.
So I just made it very clear that it wasn't a spam or something that I was trying to sell them, or it was just very humble in asking them for some of their time to get to know more about their kind of their journey and what advice they'd have for me. So overall, my response rate was good. And if it wasn't, I don't remember it. I got enough good information that I felt like it was beneficial.
Okay. That's very interesting. That's one thing I've learned too. Yeah. So, well, while you were talking, you mentioned meeting someone from probably your cultural background and things like that. So that leads me to my next question. There are some people that networking does not come to naturally, right? I, for one,
difficult.
networking did not come naturally to me. I had to learn it. And, I know there are so many newcomers out there too who feel the same way, probably because of their cultural background or some personal experiences. Networking, however, is very essential for finding and maintaining meaningful employment. So my final question, Jenna, is that what networking tips and best practices can a newcomer adopt to help them network better?
Yeah. Well, first I want to just say you are a great networker, so you're a testament to practicing and getting used to it. So, it can happen if you work on it, if it doesn't come
Right.
naturally,
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess another point I just wanted to say is it's hard, I think, for most people to network. If you're not maybe super outgoing or you don't find it comfortable to talk with others, especially ones you don't know, it's difficult for people that have lived in Canada their whole life too, without a language barrier or without knowing that slang and terminology. So just knowing that like most people are pretty uncomfortable at a networking event. Maybe you can find strength in numbers that way.
Right.
Yeah. A big tip though, I would say, is if you're going to like a job fair, to definitely research the companies beforehand. Note, like showing them that you know a little bit about them, I think will help that conversation flow. And even if you can prepare a few questions beforehand, maybe if you were going to find out at the job fair, maybe you wanted to talk to someone specifically in a certain industry, and maybe there was 3 companies in that industry, and you were an engineer and you wanted to talk to them, you could maybe kind of build a few questions and ask all of them and then compare your answers after. So like bringing a notepad and pen, very helpful. I think strength in numbers in the sense that most people are uncomfortable, and knowing that practice will help. A lot of people in the networking events that I help to arrange, it's kind of stressful and a little frightening at first, but by the end of it, everyone's like, oh, I want more. Like, that was so awesome. So I think that people get kind of excitement from it. They get joy from it at the end of it, and they feel really good. Another great tip to kind of help building those connections after you've been to those events would be just following up. So always making sure that you get a like contact card, their business card. Make sure you remember their name, if you're emailing them, but getting that contact information and then either emailing and or sending them a message on LinkedIn and connecting and building your network that way. LinkedIn is great because then you can see what people are up to, and again, get ideas of what your industry is like locally. That's really helpful. But I would always say follow up. That's really helpful.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, Jenna. This has really been an insightful session, though short, but I have learned a lot.
Oh, that's nice. I hope so. I hope some of the
I
things I've
learned
said
a
are
lot.
helpful.
And I'm gonna try the interview.
Interviewing. Yeah.
I'm gonna try that out. It's really been an insightful session.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I mean, this was so fun. It's always nice chatting with you.
Okay, yeah. So Jenna, thank you so much. We really appreciate your inputs. And to our viewers, what other tips do you have about networking? Please go ahead and let us know in the comment section. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, comment, like, and share. And remember, building relationship takes time and effort. You also have to be patient and open to new experiences. Don't be afraid to attend events, join groups, introduce yourself to new people. And there are lots of newcomers just like you out there who are open to networking. You never know who you might meet and what opportunities may arise. Yeah, so this is me signing out, Jenna.
Thanks for having me. This was awesome. And those are great words of advice. Those relationships take time, patience. You might not make your connection like that, but the more you try, the easier it will get, and the more people you'll get to know.
All righty. Thank you so much. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye, everyone. Bye, Jenna.
Bye.